evening, the time being 6:36 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Murdoch. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert.
Here.
Councilmember Patassi. Here. Councilmember Kettering.
Here.
And Mayor Barrios.
Here. Please note all 5 of us are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation provided by Kent Roberts of the River Christian Community Church. Good evening.
Thank you for the privilege of praying for us. Please join me. Our Father in heaven, we come before you with hearts filled with gratitude, joy, and hope, the result of trusting fully in who you are. We are blessed by your promise to hear us, to engage with us as we call out to you in prayer. And so we come to you in confidence to stand in the gap for our city and for the people of Oakdale. Lord, we ask for your wisdom, wisdom that is perfect and complete, wisdom that leads to understanding. I ask that you would give our city leaders wisdom, the wisdom that brings discernment, objectivity, and the heart to determine and do what is right. Wisdom that seeks to provide essential opportunities, as well as to meet the needs of the people who make up this community that we call Oakdale. Lord, we ask that you would guard and protect the men and the women and their families who give of themselves, guarding and protecting us as they serve our community. And Lord, in a world so often confused by our own idiosyncrasies and selfishness, we ask you to build into us a caring, thoughtful community. Enable us to genuinely love one another and humbly serve one another. Challenge us, teach us to complain less and to grow more into a people who seek and provide solutions for the common best of our community. We ask that you would strengthen our hearts so we might stand against the temptations to do wrong, that you might deliver us from evil. We thank you for being our God, in whom we trust. We pray these things in the great name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and now I would like to know if the Sunrise Rotary would please come up to the mic. Yes, your whole team, that would be great. Good evening. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. Good to see you guys and gals here. So tell us a little bit about what you did that night or day that there was an accident there, that the wall was crashed into. I believe you guys were out there picking up all the pieces, putting them in the front loader, the city's front loader. I could be wrong though. Is that what started this?
You know, one of the challenges that we have as Rotarians is that we're always looking forward getting in trouble. So I set up a meeting with City Manager Jerry Ramad and Mr. Jeff Rabo to discuss the possibilities of fixing it. We were told that the structural, it could not be fixed. I told them, what about if I tell you, then I can fix it. So anyway, the opportunity was given to us. I spoke to my fellow Sunrise Rotary, and I want to make it clear, Sunrise Rotary Club.
Yes.
Okay,
The
we
morning
are
one, the
we are the morning
Yeah.
club.
Yes.
You know. Anyway, so there you have it. Many hours of hard work. I was very proud to be partnered with Mr. Jeff department, his experts, and the help I got from it. And then my fellow members spending many hours putting those pieces of tiles together, puzzles. It's very difficult to assemble them, but it was a lot of wisdom, and this is what Rotary is all about. You know, we are about coming together to make our community much better than what it is. So we want to thank you for allowing us to do that. I don't think it's going to fall down anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna happen, you can see it. So, I don't know if you have any questions, but,
Well, this really was a big deal for our community, and, you know, it's all over social media, because this was put, what, Brian, what, was it 20 years ago? More than 20 years ago? Yeah, more than 20 years ago, and, you know, most of those people are already grown up, not as grown up as me, but, you know, it is. So anyway, to have your team put it back together, that's a really, really big ordeal, and that will last a lifetime. So just want to thank your team for all that you did. I know it was a lot of hard work, a lot of putting the pieces together, and we just can't thank you enough. So, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
The tile wall means so much to my family. So pretty much all of my cousins on the original wall have a tile, but me. So when they had the new wall built, I ASAP got a tile reserved. And then when I saw the accident on Facebook, I went over there crying, picking up the tiles on the ground, telling my boyfriend, "Don't talk to me. I'm so upset right now." And then when I saw that you guys were working on the wall, it just made my heart feel so full again. So thank you so much, because the wall means so much to me. And also, I have a cousin who previously did die, and his tile is up there, and it means so much to my family. So thank you so much.
you are very welcome, but you know, I guess the news for you. Behind the wall, there's some spaces. So you may wanna spend a bit of time and so to fill those spaces. Some of those tiles were gone. Some of those pieces, we just couldn't assemble them together. So it'd be very nice to see if you and everybody else will finish them up for us. I'll be glad to set them up.
Wonderful, that sounds good. All right, well, thank you guys very much. We're gonna present this to you and take a picture, and keep doing what you're doing, because this isn't it. I mean, I appreciate it very
Yeah,
much,
just
but
give me
I
a
know there's
second.
other projects coming up too.
Fundraising is
here
very
we go. We're gonna
powerful
switch
to
hats.
us.
Yes,
and-
yes.
And the reason we were able to donate about $10,000 on the wall out of our own inside is the fact that we need to raise the money for those things. So Laughter Fest is coming. Laughter Fest is coming. This is our biggest event. I'm gonna leave this with you, Colleen. Hopefully you can join us. Remember, 100% of the money that we raise in here as volunteers, it stays in this community. We don't take it away from here. So please consider spending some of your hard-earned money. Join us. It'd be quite an honor to have you there with us.
Thank you very much.
And Mayor, I can prepare with sunrise.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, of course you do. Get on. Thank you, thank you. Ready?
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You're very honored.
Ready? Sure. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I don't know if my tile's still up there.
Well, go and find it. If not, make a new one.
There was bragging rights back when we were kids if who got chosen to be on there, so it was a big deal back then.
Oh, you know,
That's nice. I love that. Well,
I
thank
do a
you.
lot of
On the
stuff.
playground, we were like,
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you.
bragging rights.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. Once again, thank you, Oakdale Sunrise Rotary. All right, so can we have the Oakdale Police Department come up to the mic and give us a little spiel about what's happening in a few weeks? Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. On behalf of the Oakdale Police Department and our National Night Out Committee, we'd like to sincerely thank you for recognizing National Night Out with this proclamation. National Night Out is all about strengthening the relationship between law enforcement and the community we proudly serve. It's an opportunity for neighbors to come together, build connections, and help make Oakdale an even safer place to live. This year, we're excited to have 8 neighborhood celebrations throughout our city, beginning with our kickoff event at Dorada Park, followed by block parties at California and Laurel, School and Olive, Oakleaf Meadows, Tesoro, Carmel Ranch, Golden Empire, and East G and South Mag. We invite everyone in our community to come out on August 4th, 6 to 8 p.m., meet your neighbors, enjoy the festivities, and spend time with the first responders and community partners who are committed to serving Oakdale. Thank you again for your continued support of National Night Out and for helping make this event possible. We look forward to seeing everyone there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, you're not done. You're not done. Come on up here. I'm going to read your proclamation, and then we're going to take a picture with
sorry.
you. All right. National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie to make our neighborhoods safer, more caring places to live. National Night Out enhances the relationship between neighbors and law enforcement while bringing back a true sense of community. Furthermore, it provides a great opportunity to bring police and neighbors together under positive circumstances. Millions of neighbors take part in National Night Out across thousands of communities from all 50 states, U.S. territories, and military bases worldwide on the first Tuesday of August. And neighborhoods host block parties, cookouts, and various other community events with safety demonstrations, youth events, visits from emergency personnel, exhibits, and much, much more. The annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the city of Oakdale to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. The Oakdale community plays a vital role in assisting the OPD through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Oakdale and supporting National Night Out 2026 locally. It is essential that all citizens of Oakdale be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Oakdale, and that police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. I, Sherilyn Berrios, Mayor of the best city in the world, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 4th, 2026 as NNO, or National Night Out, and hereby call upon all citizens of Oakdale to join celebrations supporting this annual event. We want to say thank you for all that you do. I think we've gotten first place with cities within our population for what, 3, 4, 5 years? I don't know.
I think it's 6.
Oh, 6 years, okay. Soon to be 7, yes. And I hate to say it, I will be at a work conference, a 3-year commitment. I wasn't there last year. I won't be there this year, but I'm always with you guys in spirit. So I just want to thank you, your team, Lieutenant Stever, Savage over there, and just the whole OPOA for all that you guys do for us. And I look forward to hearing about the event and seeing it on social media. So with that, let's get a picture.
Come on, Savage, get over here. Come on, come on. Savage.
All right. With the next item, report out of closed session. City manager had a successful performance evaluation. Now's the time for public comment. Anyone wishing to provide public comment on an item that's not on the agenda, please come up to the mic. You will have 3 minutes. This is public comment, and state your name. Good evening. Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, city staff. I'm Jeff Kavanaugh. I'm a pastor here in town, and first I want to thank the city for moving the Pride Day event last month indoors. And I want to state again the desires from the faith community regarding this event, because the LGBT community obviously misunderstood our concerns. In 1 Corinthians chapter 5, the Lord's very clear. We're not to judge people that are not part of the faith community, and it's because they're already under his judgment, and we're to leave that to him. And that frees us up to love on them and to share the gospel with them and his great care for them. And that's our desire. I personally have several LGBT friends. I believe they know I truly love and care for them. and vice versa. So our concerns had nothing to do with their rights or their sexuality. Rather, our objection was purely that the event was being performed in front of children. And it's not just the faith community that holds this view. For example, there's an LGBT group, Gays Against Groomers, that agree with the faith community that drag shows in front of children is grooming and should not happen. I'm going to read a couple of quotes from their website from the LGBT community. We oppose drag and pride events involving children. Number 2, Gays Against Groomers is a 501c4 nonprofit of gays, lesbians, and others in the community who oppose the sexualization, indoctrination, mutilation of children under the guise of radical activism. Third, what we are witnessing is mass-scale child abuse being perpetrated on an entire generation. We'll no longer sit by and watch it happen. From the inception in 2022, Gays Against Groomers has shut down family-friendly drag shows aimed at children. And finally, they said, we don't hate drag queens, as we don't either. We hate children being exposed to raunchy and erotic behavior, things drag queens are notorious for. So I'm just here in the hopes that the city will make sure next year it's indoors and stays indoors, because it did not this year. We were glad that it was moved there, but as we know, the drag queens were allowed to come out and perform. There's still people just walking by that can see this, and they were even receiving money from children as if at a strip club. Secondly, it should only be permitted indoors, nothing different than an R-rated movie. In California, a child is supposed to be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian to watch an R-rated movie. So if the city approves this, again, I'm just asking that you make sure it stays indoors. We would not object to the event. They're going to have the event. We just want children to be spared from that. And we had roughly over 200 people from the faith community here. Most of them were outside in the last meeting, but we have a legitimate concern, and I appreciate you listening. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. All right, anyone else for public comment? Good evening. How are you? I'm okay, how are you? Good. Pull the mic down a little bit.
My name's Kirsten. I moved here 14 years ago. I moved to Oakdale from the Bay Area because I wanted a better life for my daughter. I value Oakdale for its small town atmosphere, American flag-lined streets, family-oriented community and traditions as the cowboy capital of the world. I believe our town should remain focused on those core values. While I respect everyone's right to live as they choose, I do not believe personal identities or choices should be actively promoted in schools or community settings. Some of my concerns include pride flags being distributed at the junior high orientations and discussions about transgender students using restrooms in the high school that they identify with, which made my daughter so uncomfortable she did not use the school restroom at all her freshman year. I believe everyone deserves respect, but that respect should also extend to those who are uncomfortable with these situations. Personal choices and ideologies should not be pushed onto our children. I had concerns about the Pride event that was initially scheduled to take place at Dorada Park. So much so I made sure we were not in town. When public spaces designed primarily for children are used for events that some families may view as controversial or age inappropriate, it is reasonable for parents to question whether those spaces are being used in a manner consistent with their original purpose. While I understand many supporters view Pride events as celebrations of inclusion and acceptance, some may not. I believe the city should carefully evaluate any event before approving permits, particularly when it's intended to take place in spaces primarily designed for children. Some participants in Pride events take opportunities like these to be vile in their dress, actions, and some even think it's appropriate to over-sexualize the occasion. I have witnessed everything. With a quick search, I found the most grotesque and vile videos of this past Pride event's host. His raunchy appearance, vulgar language, and provocative dancing is not something that should be for public viewing, especially where our young children are. Although it was moved to the Bianchi Center, it still brings the crowds of uncertainty into our small town. Factors such as crowd size, security needs, and availability of city resources should be reviewed thoroughly and transparently. Residents of our beautiful town deserve to understand how events are evaluated and approved, and whether additional costs for security, staffing, or facility use will be paid by taxpayers. I also believe public schools should remain focused on education and academic instruction. Schools serve families from many different backgrounds, religions, cultures, and viewpoints. Because of this diversity, I question whether schools should endorse or promote any particular social or political movement. When my daughter went to orientation for 7th and 8th grade year, they were passing out pride and transgender flags. Why was this necessary? Why is this being pushed so hard onto our children? Acceptance can be taught in many ways, but pushing acceptance for one's personal choice or sexual orientation has zero place in our public schools. Parents should play the primary role.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. All right, anyone else for public comment? Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you
Good.
guys? All right. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Sophie Wiseman. I'm a district representative for Senator Marie Alvarado Gill's office. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to update you on our legislative and district priorities. As you may already be aware, Senator Alvarado Gill's legislative priorities include making rural living affordable again, which means reforming the insurance market, reducing the price of gas, ensuring proper funding for rural hospitals, improving our road infrastructure, protecting the public from fentanyl, and serving the needs of our elderly and veteran populations. This year, we have introduced a robust bill package that will directly serve our communities and address local concerns within Senate District 4. SB 1234, 1293, and 1382 will be heard in Assembly Appropriations on August 13th. SB 1234 requires that when juvenile courts order drug testing or for parents or guardians seeking reunification with their children, that fentanyl is on that panel. Additionally, SB 1293 requires Caltrans to provide advance written notice to residents and businesses within 5 miles of major highway construction projects for small counties with 60,000 residents or fewer. SB 1382 mandates that Caltrans notify local officials by April 1st of each year with its planned schedule for opening of mountain passes and developing a public outreach plan. Additionally, we have SB 1397, which will also be heard in Assembly Appropriations in August. This bill requires the California Department of Fish and Wildlife to maintain, enhance, and expand its human mountain lion conflict program to ensure that our families, livestock, and pets remain safe. Currently in the Capitol, we have selected 2 recipients to be awarded the Minerva Scholarship. It is put on through the Women in California Leadership Foundation. It gives them $3,000. We just notified their 2 recipients today. One is Jacqueline Garcia from Stanislaus County, and we also have Emily Ramsey from Mariposa County. Thank you, Mayor and members of the council, for your time. Additionally, Councilmember Kettering, I wanted to take a moment to recognize you during the California Probation Services Week for your service in the field and continued service to the community. I'll be in the back of the room for anyone that would like to discuss any constituent issues or has any questions about our legislation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sophie. All right, anyone else for public comment? All right, public comment is now closed. Next item, City Council consent agenda. Any council member like to pull an item to discuss? If not, this is an action item.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi,
Yes.
and Mayor Barrios.
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen. All right, we look forward to this every year, don't we, council? This is a long one. All right, so we do have some public hearings tonight, and the first one will be consider a resolution approving engineer's report for Bridal Ridge.
I need to recuse myself from this one since I live in Bridal Ridge.
All right, so we're gonna have a presentation from staff, and then we will open up the public hearing. Okay? Albert?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Annually, the City Council must levy the assessments for the landscaping and lighting maintenance districts. This is the final step in the process to place the assessments on the property tax rolls. At the June 15th council meeting, the engineer's report was accepted by the council, and the City Council set the public hearing for tonight. The public hearing provides property owners an opportunity to provide input on the assessments, and then staff will recommend that the City Council adopt the resolutions to levy the assessments for the 26-27 fiscal year. The engineer's reports have been included in your packets, and the proposed assessments we'll discuss on each of the districts. This is the Bridal Ridge area, there's two maps. So it is a very large area. It consists of 1,163 parcels. The authorized assessment is $620.51. We are proposing the actual assessment at $620.50 annually. This will be an $18.06 increase. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolutions approving the engineer's reports and ordering the levy and collection of the assessments for the lighting and landscaping district.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. It's now time to take your public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up to the mic and state your name for the record. All right, seeing none, public hearing is now closed. I will open this for city council discussion. Any council member like to talk about this issue? If not, this is an action item.
I have a question. Why are we going to up the taxes on this area when you go down a couple lines on 10.5 and the goal there is to put the responsibility on the homeowners to maintain the Mow Strip concrete? Is that 10.5? Is that how I understand it?
Jeez, sorry about that. Faulty mic. So 10.5 is basically a request from our Risk Management Authority instructing us to bring an ordinance for a sidewalk. This sidewalk ordinance doesn't have anything to do with the lighting and landscaping maintenance district. This levy of taxes is to provide a direct service to that community, and that's what it's going to cost to provide that direct service,
So
according to the engineer's
Go ahead.
estimate.
So this is not gonna have anything to do with the Mow Strips and lighting, or not lighting, anything on the maintenance side other than lighting and what it says right here?
Yes, this only reflects the cost of maintaining the Mow Strips, the park areas.
Has the
and
cost gone up, or how much has it gone up since last time?
The maximum is 3%. And so part of this is that this district, for many years ran deficits, and it is now starting to build some reserves. We have some long-term capital needs to be done. Part of this is dealing with some of the trees, and some of the irrigation systems. So we are doing this increases to, one, to cover operating expenses and build up a reserve so that we can deal with some long-term capital needs within the district.
So the trees and irrigation will be taken care of
This continues to be maintained by the
in the Mow
district.
Strips and sidewalks that I mentioned
Correct,
before, but
correct.
he just said that that's separate.
Sidewalks are separate.
Sidewalks, that's it, or separate?
Separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it maintains the landscaping and lighting.
Got it.
Anyone else have questions? All right, this is an action item.
Motion to approve.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi,
So are we in a deficit now, or
Uh,
are we headed
it-
towards a deficit?
We had a deficit, and it is starting to build some on the reserves. Let me look at it here.
So what's the biggest cost increase? Fuel for the
Well,
vehicles and wages and?
Well, it's the water, the irrigation, the two largest costs, let me find it here.
And we're in contract with OID for our water, correct?
Well,
No.
OID provides some water for two of the parks, for the basin and the dog park. Everything else is water.
City water?
The city water.
Okay. And we just upped our city water prices.
Yes, they pay just like everyone else. Yeah, yes, the largest costs are irrigation, electricity, and the landscaping. That provides for the staffing that maintains the landscaping. So those are the three largest costs.
The electricity, is that PG&E or MID?
That's MID. So
Okay.
we're spending $55,000 in electricity for all of the streetlights. We are, with the increase, we are projecting an increase in the reserve of $20,000. For many years, as far as I have on here, for 2019 through 24 is when we finally dug out of a deficit. It was running a deficit, and so we have been building a reserve, and we are projecting to have a $243,000 reserve. That will now provide the ability for our Parks Department to start looking at some of the long-term needs. We have not done much in terms of the tree maintenance, and so that's going to be a big expense because it is a very large area, and so that's where we need to build up some of those reserves to deal with some of those large capital expenditures.
So tree maintenance is just limbing trees, or are you guys gonna start tackling the concrete and other damages
Well, that will be.
that are associated?
Yeah, so the concrete will be handled separately, but the tree maintenance or any kind of tree removal or mass pruning or remove and replacement, that's what Albert is talking about, that we're gonna have to address, because it is, those trees, now that they're 20, 25 years old, they're starting to impact some of our infrastructure.
So we're not in a deficit right now,
No.
and with or without this, would we
Well,
head towards a deficit, or are we pretty?
It's one that we are proposing that it would would add $20,000 to the reserve. And so this is one of maintaining the fee structure to build up a reserve so that then we can deal with some of those long-term capital needs. And some of those things may be at some future time looking at the mow strips and whether we remove some of that lawn and put in some low
Drought-resistant stuff?
drought resistant that will reduce our water consumption.
Gotcha.
Additionally, to add something that's less staff intensive, if we can get there where we don't have to have a lot of staff time maintaining this maintenance, then we could potentially just leave it flat in the future. But we need the reserve. We anticipate once we start a large tree project that this 243,000 will disappear rather quickly when we get into a big tree program trying to address that entire neighborhood.
Gotcha. Thank you. I vote no.
And Mayor Barry.
Yes, this item passes 3-1. Thank you.
I gotta go.
All right, item 10.2, same thing, but for the vineyards.
This is the area covered by the Vineyards Lighting and Landscaping Maintenance District. There are 392 parcels. The max assessment is $800.91. We're proposing a $618.74, or a $18.12 increase. And part of this that we are not at the maximum in the vineyards is that they have a healthy reserve, and it is, the vineyards has been an area that has not had the high costs of maintaining as we've had on Bridal Ridge. but it's one that we are needing to maintain the, let's see, where's my innards? But on this is that with the current proposed increase, we are using some of the reserves. And part of this is that we're starting to do some investments into dealing with the trees in that area. And so the district will have a $376,000 reserve at the end of this, proposed at the end of this fiscal year. And so we had not been assessing at the maximums because it had a very healthy reserve. And as we've had increased costs, we have been using some of that reserve. So in the last, projected for this last fiscal year, we would have used about $90,000 of the reserve. And currently, even with this increase, we'll be using about $100,000 of the reserve, and with a projected ending of $376,000.
All right.
So staff is recommending that the council adopt the resolution to approving the engineer's reports and ordering the levy.
All right, thank you, Albert. The public hearing is now open. If you'd like to come up to the mic, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Any council member like to make a motion on this item?
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Murdoch? Yes. Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
And Mayor Barrios?
Yes, this item passes 4-0.
The next item on tonight's agenda is 10.3, a public hearing for the Birchall Hill Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District assessments.
Council, this is a map of Birchall Hill. There's the two parks and the mow strips. There are 354 parcels. The proposed assessment is $766.58. It is an $18.54 increase. Even with this increase, we're projecting a $7,700 deficit. And it has been having deficits, and it's been back and forth, but it's a struggling landscaping district. So staff is recommending that the city council adopt the resolutions approving the engineer's reports and ordering the levy and collection.
Albert, when we have a deficit, where does that money come from to pay for the deficit?
It borrows for short term, but it's one that eventually, it's the assessments that will pay for that deficit. It does not get subsidized by the general fund. It's one that when we run some of the deficits is that then we start looking at costs and reducing costs of operation to cover those costs. And so sometimes we've had some additional costs in dealing with irrigation issues in 1 year. So then we look at the next year and say, okay, where can we cut some costs to bring that, to pay off that deficit?
But there's never a time when the general fund of the city pays for lighting and landscape district deficit.
No. It's one of those that if it's running in the hole, it is borrowing to cover the deficit in that year, but then it pays it back. So the district will always pay that back.
However, there could be a situation where if there's not enough revenue, that that the revenue has to come somewhere, or the services have to stop. So there is a potential, yes, if it's not levied and we don't collect it and we want to continue with the service, something has to pay for it. The only thing that we could use to pay for that service would be the general fund.
So when lighting and landscape districts were proposed many years ago, there was a promise made that they would never affect the general fund of the city, and the intention was that they would never do that, and that the sources would come from maybe collective or something else. And I think it's important that we honor that promise, that if there's a potential for it, we need to. And actually, this was an experiment. A lot of people thought this was never a good idea. Now that we've done it for 15 years or more, what do you say? I mean, is there a way to ever exit this thing?
I can tell you that this is one of staff's biggest problems, is managing these LLMDs, and how do we keep them solvent? It's extremely challenging to balance how much service they get and what kind of product they get versus the amount of money that they're raising. There's going to be a day when they receive no services or minimal services because of the deficit and the especially for Birchill Hill, the revenues are not coming in as quickly as prices are going up. We just gave staff a 6.5% increase. Additionally, any landscaping company that we use, they're also seeing increases, and our revenues are not keeping up with our expenditures. So this is very challenging.
Is there a way to exit these things ever? I mean, if the majority ruled, and is there a way to ever get out of these things?
Well, there is a way, and that would be turning that property over to the property owners and letting them maintain it. However, getting through that legal challenge is going to be difficult and time consuming, but that might be a place that we end up going.
Thank you.
And all of these lighting and landscaping districts, the largest expense is maintaining those mow strips. And that's where, if we can go through the process of removing that grass and those mow strips and putting in drought tolerant infrastructure, that's a way of reducing operating costs.
And I've presented a challenge to Public Services Director Gravel to come up with a more cost-efficient way to do this. In other words, can we get robot mowers to do the mow strips? Can we get robot mowers to do the parks? Something to eliminate some of these costs. So it's something that staff is dealing with on a weekly basis. It's challenging. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but we're not going to give up.
Are we in a deficit in Birchill Hill?
Yes.
And I was informed that there's also a irrigation issue in the larger part. Am I correct? Didn't we get an email yesterday, day before? There was sprinklers having issues of starting to get green over there. You responded to the email.
Yeah,
that the landscaper didn't log where they put those things, so you guys are having a little bit of a tougher time locating.
Yeah, you're talking about Birchill Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely some challenges there that we're dealing with, and they mostly having to do with the parkway strips, like Albert has talked about. So we're looking at a way to, I don't know, if not anything else, to somehow back out of maintaining those parkway strips and offering them to the residents at some kind of an agreement, a reduced cost or something. You know, we're playing with a number of ideas on how to go about doing that. But what I was talking about earlier in my email to you had to do with the arrangement, the design of the system. Mm-hmm. And over a number of years, we've had a contract service landscape maintenance company taking care of Birchill Hill. And some of the things they did to repair irrigation were not exactly our standard. So we're running around, quite frankly, trying to find out
Chasing
exactly
leaks.
what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, things are plant material and turfs are challenged. They go dry. We don't know why they're going dry because we don't know where they're being controlled from. Anyway, we're pursuing that as we speak.
So we're in a deficit at Birchall Hill. It's some to do with other landscape contract and just the cost of things going up. But where is that, the people that live there's responsibility of whether it happened before they moved there or after? I mean, that's a steep ask for residents to continue paying higher and higher, but they're not getting any better services, perhaps, that you could put
Yeah,
it that way.
like the city manager said, you know, the cost of things are just outrunning what is being collected. And at the same time, we're at 20, 25 years. Trees mature, they cause issues in our landscape areas. So that's going in an opposite direction from the revenues that we collect as well. So we're trying to figure out a way to cross that.
Would it be possible, there's another item on the agenda of like the fire department, the landscaping contract that's up for approval. Can the city employees do that instead of contracting it out for cheaper and we kind of pay ourselves and that money can be redistributed within? Is that legally okay, or is that a possibility? So we're paying ourselves to do the work of re-landscaping the fire department? Like, I'm just thinking out loud.
So the fire department's a little bit different when we talk about the LMDs, like in Bridle Ridge, for example. The city staff is taking care of and performing the maintenance in Bridle Ridge and the vineyards. But they still get paid from somewhere. So when we hire individuals to take care of that maintenance, it's coming out of that revenue that is collected from the LLMDs. So it's really it's not necessarily any different than going out to get a contractor to do the maintenance. I can say that
It would just tie up our guys when they could be doing other things.
yeah, or we would still have to hire somebody in addition to the staff that we have to take care of those LMDs.
So it wouldn't pay off, something like that.
It's a push.
Yeah, because the thing is that when the city took over Bridle Ridge and the vineyard, we had gone out to bid, and the landscaping contractors' quotes were in excess of 100% of the revenue. And so we hired staff that does nothing but maintain those areas, and they are paid from those lighting and landscaping districts.
I guess my point is those contractors get prevailing wage, they get the highest. So our people aren't paid prevailing wage.
But the thing
We
is,
have all of our equipment here, we should inherently be cheaper than a contractor.
well, that equipment to maintain Bridle and the vineyards was additional equipment that we needed to purchase because the staff that's maintaining all of the other city parks, that equipment is just enough to maintain those.
I gotcha.
So it's one that it is a push on some of these. It's where we look at to try to cover the maintenance and using some staffing that may be able to provide the current level of service, but as revenues are flattening out and there's increased costs. And at some point, it's one of those that there's gonna have to be a reduction of service, that because the revenue is just not there for the staff to be able to maintain it. And so
That's not necessarily right in terms of how it should work out, because it's costing us a little bit more, means that the homeowners and people that live in the area have to go with less service. And it's not something they put into play or they put in, so they pay for the house, they live in the area, they do pay the taxes that are implemented, so that's kind of on the city's shoulders to handle it. Yes, we increase incrementally and fairly, but to say, oh, we're just gonna cut services, like, I don't agree with that.
Well,
It's an issue of revenues versus expenditures. If there's not enough revenues to cover the expenditures, it's not a matter of agreeing or disagreeing, it's a matter of facts.
I understand.
So it's a difficult position for staff to be in. We do our best, and we have to use staff time to get all those things done, and then to have staff do the landscaping for another project when there's not enough time or revenue to get everything done. It's in staff's best interest to use a contractor to get the fire department done, and that'll be another item on the agenda.
Got it.
The public hearing is now open. It is now time to take public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to provide your comment. Seeing none, I am closing public hearing. I will now open the item for city council discussion.
Quick, can you go back one slide? One more, no, the one in the middle. Yeah. So if the authorized assessment is and I didn't pick this up when I read this earlier today. The authorized assessment is $767.59. What we're asking for is $767.58.
Right.
So is there a reason we're just not?
Well, we have to, because for property tax rolls, you have to have an even dollar on the assessment to split between the two payments.
Oh.
And so we are required to provide an even cent assessment.
Learn something new every day. Thank you.
Would a member of the council like to make a motion on this item?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
We have a first and a second. Colleen, roll call, please.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes?
Councilmember Patassi,
I recuse my vote.
and Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert.
Yes. This item passes 301. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Assessment District 0301, which includes Murdoch Court.
Oh, excuse me, please.
All right, so, hold on 1 second. All right, so item 10.4, yes?
The Landscaping District 0301 includes Live Oak, Ryman Court, Sunset Meadows, Sterling Hills, and Murdoch Court. This is the area for Live Oak, Ryman Court, Sunset Meadows, Sterling Hills, and Murdoch Court. These areas, the authorized assessments are shown there and the actual assessments. And you'll note that there's a big difference on Live Oak, and that is that when that subdivision was built, the developer plumbed the irrigation for the mow strips to the homeowners, so they did not have separate irrigation. And about 15 years ago, the homeowners came to the city and requested to take over the mow strips, and 2 of the residents had a petition, and they had 100% of the property owners agree to take over the mow strips. And so they maintain all of the mow strips. That's why the assessment is only $62, because it primarily covers the tree trimming and the lighting. And so that when you see that you take the landscape, the maintenance of the mow strips out of the picture, that it can survive. It's just one of those that with all of our other districts, they have separate irrigation. And so that if we were to look at turning that back, it would mean that there would have to be either they would continue paying for the water and they would mow, that would be part of the landscaping district, or that the irrigation on the mow strips would have to be replumbed, which would be very expensive. So that was one of those situations. So right now, the proposed assessments, there's an increase of 62 cents. We looked at a 3%, and that's what it came out to be. We have in the budget for this year for the Live Oak, we have budgeted $13,000 for the tree maintenance. We did that about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and that was $12,000 for tree maintenance. And so we're looking to propose to do that again, because we did it in 2021, and so we're looking at 26, 27 to do some tree maintenance. But it's able to at the $62, it's able to cover the operating expenses, and it has been building a reserve that then when we have these large costs, it can cover those operations. Staff is recommending that the City Council approve the engineer's reports in ordering the levy and collection, the assessment for the landscaping and lighting maintenance district 0301.
Be interesting to know how many of those same homeowners are still there from 15 years ago when they came to the city and requested that.
I do
I
not
mean,
know.
be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, thank you, Albert. The public hearing is now open. If you wish to provide your public comment, please come up to the mic. You have 3 minutes and state your name. Good evening, Kathleen.
I'm Kathleen Westenberg. I live at Live Oak, and I'm an original owner. And the strip was taken over, one, because of the mowing. The people who did the mowing at the time were contaminating our strips, and we'd have to go back out there and do it ourselves, et cetera. And then with the water issue. So we couldn't understand the fees, and so we took that over. And I know that I have maintained those trees. You're supposed to be doing the tree and the lighting. And I've also maintained that tree also and had it done myself at times. And you just did some trimming recently in this month, I believe, right, Jeff? And the only thing I could say about that, they butchered that tree that I have babied since we did it, and I am so livid I can't see straight. But the point is, what I don't understand is that the planning commission, as the homeowners, and I haven't gotten to when we get to this next thing down here about the trees. When they planted, I was there when they planted it, the trees, and I was there when they pulled them up in the less than a year, and then they put another tree in there. And in our particular area, the strips are so bad that they haven't seen them when they sent out from the city to check out our situation with the trees coming up and pulling up our sidewalks. We were told that we were supposed to be responsible for that, and I'm saying, you know, you can't, I had nothing to do with the planting of that community and the trees, but if you don't know how to plant a tree far enough, dig enough, have enough space, that is not up to us, and to be responsible for the trees. So when we get into that, if that's what this is, I hope we can resolve that situation once that comes up.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, this public hearing is now closed. Open it up to the council. Any council have questions, comments on this item?
Are we in a deficit for these?
No.
Do you see us being in a deficit anytime soon?
I mean, it's one that Murdoch Court is one that has struggled, and it was one that for many years, actually, Councilmember Murdoch paid for the mowing, and once it was all built out, we went to the property owners and said, hey, the city can mow that mow strip, but we're gonna have to double your assessment. You have 2 options. Either you take over the mowing and we keep the assessments as they are, or you can agree to double your rates. They agreed to take over the mow strips. The irrigation is maintained by the city with a contractor that comes out and makes sure that the irrigation's working, and they maintain the trees, the couple of trees that are on there. And so it's able to cover those costs. And so this was, it was a small neighborhood. There's 8 residents, 8 homes in that subdivision, so it was easy to work with those homeowners. With some of our larger districts, it would be a big job to look at doing something like that. But it's something that we worked with the homeowners and said, okay, how do we maintain this? We can't have one of the homeowners be paying for all of this. And so that was the solution that we came at.
So we're not in a deficit right now in this group, and do you see us becoming or getting into a deficit anytime soon?
No, I think that these are able to maintain. It's one that on Sunset Meadows and Sterling Hills, they were building out, and through the downturn of the economy, they stopped building, but the assessments continued. Some of those lots were foreclosed. The banks took the property back and they paid all of the delinquent assessments, which put some significant revenues into those districts. And so that we have been able to maintain those costs, and as you can see, we are getting up to their maximums, but they're not anywhere near what some of our other districts are costing.
So $1 more a month to prepare for the future? Is
Yes.
that pretty much the bottom line?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else? This is an action item.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi?
No.
And Mayor Barry?
Yes, this item passes 4-1. Excuse me, 3-1. All right. 10.5.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you? Good. Are you cold? Is that okay to have the fan on? Okay. Sorry, I needed the fan on.
All right, so I'm presenting 10.5, the sidewalk ordinance. So this is the introduction of ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Oakdale Municipal Code, adding Article 7, sidewalk maintenance, repair, and replacement. So the background here, sidewalks within the city's public right-of-way provide an essential infrastructure for pedestrian travel and accessibility. Over time, sidewalks may become damaged by tree root intrusion, soil movement, weathering, and other factors, resulting in vertical displacement, cracking, and other hazardous conditions. Historically, the city has addressed sidewalk issues when notified by a resident. However, the city municipal code does not currently provide a comprehensive, clearly defined framework assigning responsibility for the sidewalk maintenance, repair, and replacement. So currently, as it stands, the California Street and Highway Code places the responsibility of property owners whose parcels front a sidewalk to maintain the sidewalk in a condition that does not endanger persons, property, or interfere with public use. It also authorizes the city to issue notice to repair, identify the required work, require repairs to begin within an applicable time frame, complete the work if the owners fail to act, and recover the associated costs throughout assessments following notice. The proposed ordinance formalizes these responsibilities in the Oakdale Municipal Code, establishes consistent procedures for inspection, notice, repair, enforcement, and cost recovery, and provides limited assistance to property owners through hazard abatement, extensions, and financing options. So the ordinance overview establishes a clear responsibility for adjacent property owners to maintain and repair sidewalk areas. It defines hazardous sidewalk conditions and creates a consistent process for inspection, notice, repair, and appeal. Requires sidewalk replacement work to be completed under an encroachment permit in accordance with city and accessibility standards. And this allows the city to complete required work when an owner fails to act and recover cost. It clarifies the liability and enforcement responsibilities within the Oakdale Municipal Code. All right, so we have some additional property owner assistance within the ordinance. The ordinance allows the city at its discretion to remove damaged or hazardous sidewalk sections for the property owner, reducing the immediate burden of demolition and disposal. The city may grind uneven panels or safeguard the area to reduce trip hazards while permanent replacement is arranged. After city demolition, the property owner is responsible for obtaining an encroachment permit and completing the new sidewalk in accordance with city and accessibility standards. Extensions may be granted for financial hardship, weather, utility conflicts, permitting process, or documented contractor unavailability. Eligible replacement costs may be repaid through installments on the property owner's municipal bill, subject to finance department approval. So the physical impact, the ordinance is expected to have little to no additional physical impact on the city. Minor costs may result from staff time needing to inspect complaints, provide notices, coordinate demolition or temporary safeguards, and assist property owners. So staff recommends that the City Council introduce the ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Oakdale Municipal Code, adding Article 7, sidewalk maintenance, repair, and replacement.
Thank you. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to provide public comment, please come up to the mic and state your name. You'll have 3 minutes. Good evening, Kathleen.
Okay, Kathleen Westenberg. So you planted the trees incorrectly. You didn't actually maintain the trees properly throughout the years. I just, like I said, my own. And then about 2021 or 22, there was a lot of rain, and I was injured during the time I didn't get to go out for a while. So when I did go out to try to walk on my sidewalk, I noticed that I couldn't even walk down the street because all the sidewalks had been lifted. And I had no idea that happened. But to blame that on the homeowners who had nothing to do with planting those trees, taking trees out, replanting them, not doing anything to provide proper space, proper rootage going down, that is my problem with this, that we would be responsible for that, especially in our case, since we did take that strip over. We do maintain the strip, and like I say, you occasionally do our trees, and there was a period of time where their trees were not done, and that could have caused the roots to come up and cause that to pull all those sidewalks up. So I'm just saying, I don't think that burden should be put on the homeowners. We can work with the city, and the city has been working with me, and I'm very grateful for that, but they should consider that. I would think in everybody's cases, 'cause I think that's a problem with all of those LLMDs, not just mine. So, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kathleen. Anyone else? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Open it up for city council discussion.
I have a couple of questions. So in reading this, let's suppose that grinding was the solution. Who would pay for that, the homeowner or the city?
So we would come out and assess, and if we're able to grind it, we'll grind it for them.
And that would be a city expense.
Yep.
Let's suppose that.
What's the ceiling of that expense?
And let's suppose that the sidewalk had to be removed because it was deemed too much to grind. Who would pay for the removal?
Removal, the city would. We offer removing the sidewalk for the resident. The only thing the resident would be responsible for would be pouring back.
So the only scenario in this that would involve the homeowner paying up would be once the concrete's removed, it would be re-pouring the concrete. That's the only
Yep.
way that the homeowner is going to be responsible cost-wise.
I also need to add that one point that wasn't brought up in the presentation is our risk management authority has basically told us to bring it to city council because this indemnifies the city from lawsuits.
This has been a long time coming, correct?
Yes, we're not changing anything. You can see the highway safety code, streets, there's an actual code in the California law that says homeowners are responsible. Our risk management authority has asked us to do this to protect the city in lawsuits. I don't know if you've noticed lately, but we've seen an increase in claims for trip and fall hazards when it's not necessarily the city's fault, but by having this code, it protects the city.
Any other questions?
Why doesn't the city take actions to mitigate that? If there's lifting, if there's issues, then instead of putting it off on the homeowner, why doesn't the city just handle it then? If the lawsuit's the worry, just handle it. As the city planted the trees, watered the trees, limbed the trees, everything except fixing the sidewalk that the tree messed up.
So that question assumes that city staff doesn't do anything, when that's
No, it doesn't.
that's not the case. City staff does our best, and when somebody brings it to our attention, we do address it. This ordinance is necessary to protect the city from lawsuits from slip and fall when the sidewalk actually is the responsibility of the homeowner. That's the primary reason for
But it's
bringing this, is
not.
because the Risk Management Authority has asked us to do this, because it's eventually the person that's on the hook when it comes to paying is first the city, and then when it reaches a certain amount, then it goes to the Risk Management Authority, and they're basically saying, you need to do this because we can't be caught essentially in a bad position.
Insurance wants to protect itself from having to pay out. I get it. But again, it is not the homeowner's responsibility. So if that's the case, and I get everything up to the most strip, then can I build a fence all the way out and not follow the ordinances because I own that now, like that extension onto the street? Like, I mean, where do you? It just it doesn't calculate, or it doesn't. The math doesn't math, right? If it's not the homeowner's issue, or where the homeowner didn't plant the tree, they didn't maintain the tree, they didn't do anything that had anything to do with the tree, and now all of a sudden, it's their responsibility when that tree uplifts the concrete and causes a tripping hazard.
It would be their responsibility to replace the concrete if the city comes along and tears it out. Yes.
So
And this California Streets and Highway Code
that's great,
currently
we don't
places
have
the
to pass it.
responsibility on the property owner. So they still have that responsibility. All we're doing is trying to indemnify the city so that we're not exposing ourselves unnecessarily to lawsuits.
But it's the city's responsibility to maintain their property.
It is not the city's responsibility to maintain the sidewalks. It says right in the code, it's the responsibility of the homeowner to maintain those sidewalks. However, Oakdale, being the city that we are, try to help out our residents as much as we can. That's why we'll come along and grind and remove the sidewalks.
So not only will the city come and take out the concrete that's uplifted, or they'll grind it, and if it needs further, they'll take out the concrete, remove roots, trouble roots.
Minimal, depending on the tree itself, because, and depending on the area, because not all of the town, not all of Oakdale
So
has
near me,
LMDs.
they had a large tree that was around a water main, and so they came out, removed the tree, pressure washed the roots, removed as much as they could, and then put back drought tolerant landscape. Is that what you're saying is going to happen for these, for further, future situations, or?
You know, many of the scenarios are gonna be different. There are cases where if a tree is impacting utilities such as water and sewer, the tree will be removed and the
Yeah.
roots will be ground out.
So when it'll benefit the city and the people in that area, the city's gonna take care of it,
In those cases, yeah, the city would take care of it.
okay? And then, so those folks didn't have to get an encroachment permit. So if it's me on a corner that doesn't have a water main or valve or issue, you guys will come take out the concrete, roots, and then I have to pay for an encroachment permit to pour back concrete?
It's it's a no-cost permit.
Okay.
So what it is the city would come out, like Tyler had indicated, the city would come out. They would first notify the property owner of the situation. Then the city would come out, they would remove the sidewalk, grind roots, if we can, grind those roots out of the way, do any kind of root pruning that would, one, preserve the tree, and two, allow us the sidewalk to be poured back. And then it would be the property owner's responsibility to pour the sidewalk back. So it's really, it's cutting the law, the state law, really in half. It's kind of a joint venture between the city and the property owner.
So what's the guarantee that you'll do that for everybody? Like, I mean, is it in the literature that it's gonna be, hey, this is what you get, this is boilerplate standard?
This is why we're bringing an ordinance to the city council.
And I understand.
As right now, as of right now, it's the city's responsibility to remove and replace?
No.
No.
Right now, all the liability is on the property owner because of the state law.
Nothing changes with this ordinance except that it indemnifies the city, which is at the request of the Risk Management Authority.
Well, I think there's some vagaries here, though, that ought to be addressed. For one thing, you know, I'm a contractor. If you ask me to pour the concrete back, no problem. It's a phone call. But for the average Joe, I could see a piece of concrete being cut out and they don't have the ability to put the concrete back. They're not gonna go down and get an encroachment permit, or they don't want to. Or sometimes people aren't as friendly with the city as we may want them to be. I think we're leaving literally wide open.
And you know, just to address that, there may be some scenarios where the city does the entire job. And there may be a cost associated with pouring back the concrete. And that would be, an arrangement would be made, and that's what's indicated in the ordinance, where this arrangement is made where a portion of that cost would show up on the utility bill, and it would be paid down over time.
It feels like, I understand codifying this, but it feels like to me like there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of vagaries that maybe we ought to address and then pass this thing, because it feels to me like the city ought to do it. I mean, like every time. Now, if we charge the homeowner, that makes sense, and especially if, as you just said, that's a great solution. I like what we're saying, but that's not what this says. So I think this ought to say what we're talking about right now.
Well, so in the ordinance, we have, there's a financing option, or the resident can do it themselves, pretty much. We have the financing.
That's an even worse option. Yeah,
I don't
can
wanna
pour
pay
my own
anything for
concrete.
something that got planted 25 years ago that I had nothing to do, but I paid full price for the house, but I can't build out that far. So you're saying up until now, the city does this stuff on good faith to be good neighbors and take out the concrete and re-pour concrete? I mean,
I think the entire community has been able to enjoy the trees.
Yes.
It does bring value to the
Yes.
to the neighborhood and the community.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying just this zoomed in, not zoomed out on
Maybe,
that.
you know, if we all had this foresight, maybe 18 years ago, somebody should have removed the tree. Came to the city, pulled a permit, and removed the tree.
Oakdale's not the first town to plant trees in town.
Oh,
So
no,
we
it's
know-
a
we know that
requirement.
This was a thing that can happen, root issues. So,
Yeah, I mean, we can't speak on behalf of what happened 20, 25 years ago. We're just trying to find a solution. And our risk management has said, you guys need to come up with something.
so I think this needs, like what Rich said, this needs to do a better job of explaining the conversation we're having, because it doesn't sound in this, like, this is one of the ones I read multiple times. It doesn't sound or come across that, hey, the city's gonna be a good neighbor, a good partner in this, and in my opinion,
This was vetted by the RMA and they approve of this.
Well, I
the
don't.
RMA is the RMA.
I was
don't
gonna
care.
say I motion to to extend this to the next meeting so we can discuss it further and get on with tonight's agenda.
And to be more specific, I don't think homeowners should ever pour a sidewalk in a city. It's a city standard. We need to protect that. I think the city
What
needs.
if they don't do it right? Are they required to get a contractor as a contractor's license? or, you know, that's liability on the homeowner if they don't pour it
I
right.
think the city pours it, and then as Jeff said, we bill them as appropriate, but that needs to be part of this thing that we're codifying and make it the same all the time, so it's something we can count on.
The issue that I see with that is, now, suppose it's in front of your house. You said you're a contractor, you'd make a call and you'd have it done, you'd pull the encroachment permit, you'd have it done, it'd be inspected, and we'd be done. And you would probably do it a whole lot cheaper because you can buy concrete at wholesale, or you have a provider. So we don't wanna take that ability away from a homeowner if they can do it cheaper. However, we're giving them a second option of the city doing it and having the city build them. So that's kind of why that's built in there, because there are some people that would pull the encroachment permit. I would pull the encroachment permit if it was in front of my house. I'd buy the concrete, I would lay it myself and finish it and have it inspected, which would be
Well, if we're
much
worried
cheaper,
about
which would be,
liabilities,
which would be much cheaper than having the city staff do it and then them bill me. I'm sorry, I wanted to finish
No,
my thought, but
sorry.
go ahead.
Isn't that, if we're gonna pour it, like, yeah, I'm an engineer, he's a contractor, we're both capable, but if somebody else does it that's not an engineer, contractor, or has that every day they watch a YouTube video and they're, I can do this, it's not that hard, which it's probably not, but does that introduce different liability that the city needs to worry about, or is it all on the homeowner? And sorry, too bad, so sad, you're on your own if somebody trips and falls and breaks a hip or busts a kneecap or something.
According to the code, it changes nothing. If they did it improperly, they're still responsible for it. They're responsible for it today, they're responsible for it tomorrow, and as long as they own that house, they're responsible for it. Even if they pour it, or if they have a contractor come and pour it, they're still responsible for it. We're not changing the code. All we're doing is introducing an ordinance that gives us something to protect the city.
But this is so vague that, you know, what Jeff just said is, okay, we're gonna get an enforcement permit because there's gonna be an inspection. So you gotta do it to the city standards or the inspection's not gonna pass. That's exactly how it should be, but that's not what this says. So let's just make it say what we're talking about, and then I'm good.
Your homeowner's not gonna think to dowel in rebar and put, you know, stickers underneath the rebar, or how, like, they're just not gonna, you're putting things on the homeowner that is not and should not be in there.
We are not putting any additional responsibility on the homeowner. That responsibility already exists.
Well, I motion that we rewrite this in a way that it sounds like what we're talking about, so I motion that I'm gonna vote a no.
Before, just one thing is, I'm listening to all this, I'm somewhere right in the middle. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a contractor, so I'd be paying to get this done if it came up. As a former department head and attorney, I understand the liability completely. I understand what the law says today. I understand that as a homeowner, I'm completely responsible. But listening to is it Kathleen? What Kathleen said, I'm in that situation in my own home right now. I have a city planted tree that I had nothing to do with. It was planted before I bought the home, and it is pushing the sidewalk up. If I use common sense, a city planted tree, a city maintained tree that is causing damage that I have no choice over, because if I cut down that tree now, I'm in trouble. That's where common sense and my brain knock to say, though it just doesn't sound right to me. I've seen just today, the city was grinding sidewalk across the street from my house because of an elevated sidewalk. So, I mean, I'm assuming since this ordinance is the city's gonna come pour that concrete. Once, I haven't seen that part, I just saw the jackhammers at 7:30 or 8 o'clock this morning. That they were tearing out the concrete on this. So I'm really stuck. I understand what everybody's saying. I truly understand the liability. I understand what the law is today. I've understood for 30 years when my parents went through this, when somebody tripped and fell on a sidewalk maintained by their city, they were the ones responsible for that. That's how it was 30 years ago. Every city that I've been in that has mow strips seem to have these problems. I worked for Merced County for 30 years. There were several cities in Merced that I saw this exact same issue. I don't know if there is a perfect answer. I really struggle, and and this is probably too much information, but I struggle with my responsibility to protect the city as being on city council versus what's best for the community, because I think we have both duties sitting up here. And so I agree, I think some of this language is vague. I read this 30 times. My biggest struggle was the pouring the concrete, and that seems to be, and that was a question that I asked earlier today, moving forward. So I don't know, at this point, I think there needs to be some rewording to make it clear and less vague. I understand Risk Management Authority wants this done, and if we don't do it, there could be a financial cost to the city because they could raise our rates, and I understand that. But I think to most of the community, having something that is pretty clear that if this, then this, will make it easier for them to understand.
Well, also that it says that the city can put a lien on your property if you choose not to pay it back, or it's like, that doesn't jump, that doesn't sit well with the eyes. That's my help.
So is this something we can rework and bring it back?
Absolutely.
Good?
I believe Councilmember Gilbert had a motion to continue.
Okay, we have a motion
You
and a
just need to
second.
find a date that's, it needs to be to a date certain.
August 17th?
That,
Yeah, I mean,
I'd second the motion to be returned back on August 17th.
first and second, excuse me, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi,
Yes, to move
And-
it to the 17th,
yes,
right?
and Mayor Barrios.
Yes, passes 5-0, thank you. Okay, all right, next item.
Sorry, one more thing. What, and when we reread it and we don't like it again, or if we do, like, how do we go from there? Are we gonna take care of that before a council meeting, or just rehash it out again?
So it'll
that
come
night?
out in an agenda packet. I'm always available. You can call me.
Okay.
And then basically do the same thing.
Okay.
If you want it reworded, we reword it. If you want to vote no, you vote no. And if you accept it, then we vote yes. Same process.
Thank you.
All right, item 10.6, public hearing. And now hear from staff, and then open up the public hearing. Good evening, Lieutenant Stever.
Madam Mayor and Council, sorry, I thought I was last. What we're going to talk about tonight in regards to this is the smoke shop regulations. There we go. A little bit of background. The City of Oakdale is pursuing this regulatory program in response to a noticeable increase in juvenile use of tobacco, vaping, and related products, as well as a growing number of smoke shop businesses within the community. By limiting the total number of permitted smoke shops and strengthening oversight through inspections and enforcement, the city aims to reduce youth access, promote responsible business practices, and protect public health and safety. Additionally, many electronic vaping devices and cartridges contain hazardous material and qualify as hazardous waste, making it important that their sale, handling, and disposal are not left unchecked by local governance. Many of these vaping devices end up in the Oakdale Police Department evidence room and accumulate due to their status as hazardous waste. Our property and evidence clerk, Sarah Harcrow, has baskets and baskets full of these things, and they are very difficult to get rid of. This approach balances the interests of existing businesses with the broader community need to prevent underage use, maintain neighborhood character, and ensure compliance with state and local laws. The proposed smoke shop permit program creates a regulatory framework for smoke shops in Oakdale to address their growing presence and associated community concerns. The program would require permits, inspections, and ongoing compliance monitoring to ensure businesses follow state and local laws, which at the present they are not, and you'll see that in a minute. Permit fees are intended to recover the city's administrative and enforcement costs, including inspections and the specialized disposal of seized vaping devices and cartridges, which are considered hazardous e-waste. The ordinance is designed to reduce youth access to tobacco and vaping products, improve accountability among smoke shop operators, address public health and environmental concerns, and preserve the safety character and overall well-being of the Oakdale community. It also includes limits on the number of smoke shops established and provides enforcement authority to law enforcement and code enforcement personnel. So some of these are the key provisions. Number one, smoke shops must be licensed. No person or business may operate a smoke shop or tobacco retailer in Oakdale without first obtaining a tobacco retailer license. A separate license is required for each business location, and the license is in addition to any other required city licenses. Number two is the application requirements. Applicants must provide business owner and applicant information, business address, description of products sold, proof of required state licenses, including California tobacco licenses, any additional information requested by the city, and a non-refundable application fee. An annual renewal, where licenses are valid for 1 year. Renewal requires submission of renewal application, payment of annual permit fees, and continued compliance with applicable laws. The next one would be operating requirements. Smoke shops and tobacco retailers must comply with all federal, state, and local tobacco laws, not sell tobacco products to anyone below the age permitted by state law, maintain all required state licenses, and display their city licenses prominently at the business. License suspension and revocation, and I think this is a big tool that we'll be able to use. The city may suspend or revoke a license for violating the ordinance, violating state or federal tobacco laws, providing false information on an application, failing to maintain required state licenses. Businesses must receive notice and an opportunity for hearing before any suspension or revocation. So we'd make sure to let them be heard. Maybe they had a new employee that wasn't paying attention. So smoke shop permit fees. Application fee, which is non-refundable, is $500. This amount will be applied to the first year annual permit fee if the smoke shop permit is approved. Annual permit fee, $1,100. Re-inspection fee is $530. And the licensing cap is a big one we want as well. We want a maximum of no more than 3 shops. The proposed code would cap the number of smoke shop licenses to 3 active shops citywide. The intent is to reduce youth access to tobacco products and prevent an over-concentration of smoke shops within the city. However, existing smoke shops grandfathered in, so if, you know, and you'll see those numbers here in a minute, the current smoke shops that are here will stay. But as they drop off, that's when we want to start capping it. So, as existing shops may continue to operate and must remain in compliance with all regulations. Attrition-based reduction. If a smoke shop closes, surrenders its license, has its license revoked, or fails to renew, that license slot becomes vacant. A new license can only be issued if the total number of licenses falls below 3. Licenses cannot be transferred to another owner or location, and any ownership change or relocation requires a new application and is subject to the 3 license cap. So, city manager will hand out some photos. I'm sorry I didn't get these in prior, but this was a photo taken at one of our local shops. I don't know if everyone here is familiar with them, but Albert, which one's the laser? So, these are all nicotine pouches. As you can see, it's a little bit difficult, but these are illegal in the state of California. And these aren't something that are hidden under the counters. These are just wide open, out and about. They're not even attempting to hide them. The photographs, can someone hold up one of the photographs for me? Perfect. So the cans that say Zyn, those are flavored nicotine pouches. Those are illegal in the state of California.
So the Zyn are against the law?
The flavored Zyn, yes, which are those. Those are against the law. And then
you can see on there where it says Zyn, right under it it reads peppermint on your handout. So it's flavored peppermint.
Yeah.
And he purchased those here in Oakdale, correct?
Yeah, I went in plain clothes about a week and a half ago and bought all these from 3 different locations. The bottle to the right, the second one towards the right, is the vaping cartridge liquid that is also flavored. Those are also illegal. The Blue Palma cigars, cigarillos, whatever they are, those are flavored. Those are also illegal. And again, we have some more pressing things than vaping and nicotine pouches. That's not necessarily the problem. However, it's the juveniles and the kids that we are concerned about here, and these are wide open. So these shops, at least 3 of them, the ones that I was able to get to, are right out in the open with these, selling them completely illegal for California law.
So I do have a question. So gas stations sell this, and then also liquor stores sell these things. So does that mean the gas stations and the liquor stores that are selling these also have to apply for a permit, as well as the smoke shops, if they're not grandfathered in?
It depends on what your establishment is. So take AMPM, for instance, Shell, things like that. They aren't considered a tobacco retailer. They're just considered the licensing through California is different. And I
What
stopped.
about Oakdale Food and Liquor? Would that be considered a smoke shop or
No,
a liquor store?
they're not. They're considered a liquor store that has an alcohol selling permit and a tobacco permit. And it gets a little in the weeds if you don't know, but certain kind of Zins, certain kind of vaping products, certain kinds of cigars are legal. It's when you get into the flavored nicotine or flavored tobacco, those are the kind that are illegal.
Okay, so peppermint is a flavor.
Peppermint is a flavor
Okay.
that California decided to make illegal,
Okay,
yes.
just clarifying, sorry, I don't use these.
No, it's okay. And so there's several liquor stores in town. I don't think I got to every single one. However, Oakdale Food and Liquor was one, AMPM was one. They are not openly selling illegal items, or I'm sorry, they're not displaying illegal items for everyone to see. The main ones that I've seen so far are the smoke shops that are doing this.
So the smoke shops just can't display them, but then they can still sell them?
No, they are not able to sell them and display them or anything. So basically, they know they're not allowed to do this, and since there is no checking of it by local law enforcement, and this is what they're deciding to do. And so, again, with this saturation that we're seeing of these smoke shops, it's only going to continue until we get some enforcement going.
I never thought you'd be the one teaching me about these nicotine products, but here we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so a little bit of the numbers here, and this is a little bit of the oversaturation. We have 6 tobacco shops here in town. You can see the numbers there. Riverbank, and population roughly of Oakdale, 24,000. Riverbank has 27,000, and they only have 2 shops. Modesto, population of almost 250,000, has 35 plus shops. Their municipal code allows 1 per 25,000 residents. Turlock has 10, and their population is 75,000. So the majority of Oakdale's 6 smoke shops are concentrated largely along the F Street Yosemite commercial zone, and the corridor containing those shops is only about 2 miles long. We believe that the city has an interest in maintaining a diverse and balanced commercial environment, and the overconcentration of any single business type can reduce the retail diversity and limit opportunities for a broader range of businesses that contribute to economic activity, employment, and community vitality. The other thing that I noticed when I went out and bought these, you do see a certain element visiting these shops, and that doesn't necessarily mean anyone who uses tobacco or vapes or things like that is that, but you do. I noticed at every single shop someone that has been arrested by OPD on multiple occasions. I won't see that at Feresi's. I won't see that at Oakdale Food and Liquor. I am seeing it at smoke shops. And, yeah, go ahead. So here's, the stars here in the city are the smoke shops. As you'll see, they're right, in our main areas, taking up some pretty good real estate. And so, staff recommends that the City Council adopt Chapter 38, which introduces smoke shop regulations into the Oakdale Municipal Code, adding Article, someone help me out, is that 5? 4. Tobacco retailer license limitation, Section 24 to Chapter 16. Licenses to establish regulatory oversight of smoke shop businesses and adopt the proposed fees into the fee schedule outlined in the resolution. And with that, I'll try to answer any questions that you might
I
have.
have more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, we're saying that we're only going to allow 3 smoke shop licenses besides the ones that are grandfathered in. And then, let's say the ones that are grandfathered in, they're about to close. Could someone buy that business and buy their license?
No, they would have to
No.
go through the entire process again.
But, oh, okay, but if there were still 5 smoke shops open, that they could never buy that business and be a smoke shop, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. It's now time to take public comment. Anyone wishing to provide that, please come up to the mic and state your name. You'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. I'll bring it back to council for discussion. And any questions that we have for the lieutenant?
How many smoke shops do we have currently?
6.
6? Gotcha. Now, you mentioned earlier, toxic waste, I think, hazardous waste. Does Jilton or any other waste management have a way for you guys to get rid of them?
I haven't asked Jilton, however, there is I'm sorry for the vagueness, but this is the most correct I can give you. There is an entity in Modesto that does allow you to drop off no more than 25 pounds of hazardous waste. It's just something we haven't looked into yet because
What's hazardous about them? The batteries in
you'd
them,
have to ask
or
California. I don't know. I know some of it is
oil
the
involved or
batteries.
The flavoring and stuff, I mean, obviously that's being ingested, but.
Yeah, some of it is, I think the majority of it is the batteries, the lithium, things, especially the electric components that go with it, because so many of them charge now. But yeah, it becomes an issue where we can't even, the jail won't take them because they're a fire risk. We have them separate and contained where they won't be a fire risk.
Can the firefighters take them then?
No.
Come on.
Do you just have buckets of vapes in the?
We have a large container of them that Sarah takes and disposes of from time to time, but it fills up very quick.
So you went into these different establishments, regular clothes, bought whatever you needed to buy. Now, are you giving them citations, or who's policing that?
So there's a lieutenant in Modesto that I plan on teaming up with, has ran these investigations several times very successfully. And he has the most up-to-date information as far as the citations and things like that. I plan on bringing him in and having him assist us.
So you guys will continue to do that, then move forward with?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, Stever, this also means when you go in, if they're selling any of the illegal cannabis or mushroom products, you'll go in and close them for that?
And that would be more of a criminal matter. It is criminal as far as the e-vapes and the, flavored tobacco and things like that. However, when you're talking about more, narcotics and drugs, that's something that we would take much more drastic action on and probably arrest on the spot and go through the district attorney's office.
I know Modesto was finding a lot of the smoke shops were selling those, including these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they when I spoke with, I believe Lieutenant Moffett is his name, they found actually lots. I mean, they found automatic weapons, they found methamphetamine. I believe some of the areas that they investigated had money laundering going on as well. So, I mean, again, I don't want to paint too broad, but it is a business that doesn't have the best clientele or owners in mind from time to time.
Just real quick, I think you answered my question when you talked about the Modesto PD lieutenant is ABC does this at the state level for alcohol. there's nothing that does it at the state level to enforce?
There's a hotline.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, and then when you said about the lieutenant minutes, because it seems like without an ordinance like this, they're doing exactly what they can do. They're flaunting it. And they're basically saying, they're daring you to come in.
Yeah, and it gets difficult because it is kind of on that border of civil and criminal, you know? Not necessarily being able to book somebody or even issue them a criminal citation. But it's kind of one of those new areas that agencies are still learning, especially us. And with this and with the help of Lieutenant Moffett, we'll be able to, you know, really start enforcing this. And hopefully it only takes once. Obviously, we'll continue to do it. But the main thing is just to limit them and say, you're not allowed to do this. Stop. We know what you're doing. We know you're targeting our city's youth. No more. You're not going to be doing that anymore.
Well, and I've heard, having a current teenager and a former teenager in my own home, that where they can go and buy whatever they want. I've been hearing that since we moved to Oakdale years ago.
Yeah.
So I appreciate this. I think it is for absolute protection of the kids in our community. I didn't realize there was 6. I thought there was like 2 or 3. And so I think it's a good thing.
Didn't this get voted statewide that flavors were, wasn't it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago that it was voted in that?
It was rather recent. Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 years ago where they got rid of all flavored tobacco and flavored nicotine, flavored vaping. Yeah. Yep. So.
All right.
Well, so who doesn't want to jump on this bandwagon and give you all the tools that we can?
Yeah.
But one of the things that feels a little blurry to me, and that Councilmember Gilbert mentioned the same thing, is that there's a lot of lookalikes. You know, if you go into a liquor store, well, there's the same products. Or if you go into a gas station, well, there's the same products. The way that ABC has tackled this might make more sense in that if you sell alcohol in any of its varieties, you have to get a license for that. What if Oakdale required a license for nicotine or for these products, no matter what your store looked like? You could still regulate it. In fact, you could regulate it a lot more broadly, because even to sell it in a gas station in Oakdale, you've got to get that permit, and that's revocable, and it has to be renewed. So because I think there's a lot of lookalikes. I think if I want to sell this stuff, but we only allow 3 of them, I'm just going to open up a store that's kind of like that, but sell something else. I don't know that we really stamp it out the way we would like to.
That was something I thought about, but after reading some of the laws that it takes to get the liquor license and get the tobacco license and then get the smoke shop license, without getting too much into the investigative techniques, I'm not worried about that. I was until I got into this. And even if it's not a smoke shop, and let me just say, one of the reasons they go for the smoke shop license first is because it's so much easier to get, because there is no regulation on it. When you have the liquor licenses, like Oakdale Food and Liquor, or those, it's much more stringent, and you're getting visited a lot more by law enforcement because of the licenses that you have.
And there's a background check on the person putting in the application.
Correct. So, and with that, there's only one liquor store that I know of that is actually also dabbling in the smoke shop products. I don't want to say who it is now, but I'm sure you can probably figure it out if you go for a drive down F Street.
There's some gas stations too.
Yeah, but with that and with this, we will still be able to do the enforcement, even if they are just a liquor store, because they're still violating California law. So we'll still be able to issue citations. We'll still be able to call ABC and say, go ahead and take a look at this. We just issued them administrative citations. You might want to do the same with the licenses that they have on file with your office.
Is there anybody who sells these products that are actually legitimate in terms of they never color outside of the lines? And one thing this would do is I pay my rent, I do everything I'm supposed to do, and then I age out and I get to where I'm going to retire, and I'd like to sell my business to somebody else so that I earn some money off of what I've built.
Well, keep in mind that this is being written because we're oversaturated.
Well, I could imagine.
But we have 6, so if we have 6 and we're 24,000, that's That's 1 per 4,000 residents. And Modesto just put an ordinance, it's 1 per 25,000. So if we had one smoke shop, we would be under the Modesto. In other words, what I think the lieutenant is trying to say is, we have a problem with smoke shops in the city of Oakdale. We need to reduce it down to a manageable number that we think fits our community, and they've selected the number of 3. Now, when we get down to the number of 3, if there's one of those owners that's conducting a legitimate business, wants to pass it along, then that would be an appropriate use. They'd be able to pass it along, because now there's 3, it would reduce to 2, it would be back up to 3 when they pass it to one of their family members, friends, however they pass it along. But this is crafted in a way that we eliminate 3 of the smoke shops as the business as there's attrition in the business, because we have a certain element that we're trying to remove from our community.
I'm still not convinced, though, that if we didn't regulate all tobacco sold, instead of the 3 entities, if we regulated tobacco instead, we'd also be regulating the gas stations and liquor stores and the others that are doing this. You don't see that
So
way?
well, yes, I think if we have a liquor store that is, a liquor store that's causing us problems, then yes, we can address that. However, when somebody applies for a liquor store, we get to have input as a community, which has been assigned to the police chief by the city council, saying you have the authority to act on our behalf on petitioning with ABC. So when ABC sends us an application, when I was the police chief, I had the discretion to say, we're already oversaturated, we disagree with another liquor store, and they would take my opinion into consideration. Yes. So that was our way of limiting the amount of liquor stores so we wouldn't have oversaturation. We had one liquor store that came into town, this was years ago, and ABC contacted us, and it was down by the river. So I knew that we had a homeless population down by the river that were probably abusing alcohol. They would stand in one of the shopping centers and walk around until they got enough money to go buy singles, the single bottles. They'd drink it, they'd go back out and hustle for more money, and then my thought was that they would go back and get another single. I know that they were doing that, but to have that liquor store selling singles within that shopping center is only enabling the behavior. So I petitioned ABC. Hey, I don't want them to be able to sell singles. They put that restriction on the liquor store, and it worked. So,
I'd just like to see you have power in all the stores instead of those.
so we do have power in all the stores. If they're violating by selling the flavors, the police department does have the ability to basically issue them the citations. I'm not sure if it's going to be a civil citation or a criminal citation. That's something that we're going to have to look at. We already have that power. What we're saying is we're oversaturated with smoke shops. We want to get them down to a manageable number that's not affecting the youth in the city of Oakdale. Now, hopefully someday California comes along and says, hey, we need to start something similar to ABC, and can do that with tobacco, and then it's not incumbent upon the police department, who's already taxed doing other stuff. Hopefully they come up with a regulatory agency, but until then it falls on them. We're asking for city council to give us the authority to get it down to 3, and then if they want to pass it on, they can. Now, as far as liquor stores and convenience stores selling that stuff, if it's illegal, we can also address that. But we can do two things at once, and I need to clear this with the city attorney, and that is that we can have this ordinance and we can pass it, and then it becomes effective 30 days after the second reading. Meanwhile, we can look at, hey, do we need to, and do we have the legal authority, I'm not sure that we do, to start regulating tobacco in our community, and say, if you're going to sell tobacco, you have to come to us to get a license, because along with that license, there's going to be regulatory issues. We're going to have to charge some permitting fee that covers the cost of the city, so that it's not, it needs to be revenue neutral, but we don't want to have that fiscal burden. So I think that there's 2 different avenues to get where you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying, and I agree. It would be nice if we could do that, so we can look into that, but that's a different avenue where we get to the same spot.
Yeah, I think we'd like to give you the most teeth that we could,
Yeah.
but I totally get where you're coming.
Excellent idea, yeah. And just, I would just say this too, is most of our liquor stores are, in my opinion, 20 years, with the PD, they're pretty much on the up and up. When you go into these smoke shops, you start seeing, oh, that's a methamphetamine pipe that you're selling. That is a marijuana pipe that you're selling, and there's cartoons on them, or you're really walking the line as far as what is legal and what's not. It's not a meth pipe; it's a marijuana burner. Okay, no, it's not. But that's the kind of avenue that we're dealing with right now, and it's a little bit darker than just the liquor stores.
I have one more question. Forgive me if I missed it. What about this, do you think will cut down the number of the smoke shops in town? Is it the cost of the fees, just the process overall? How do you think that's going to
I think it'll be the cost of the fees, and I also think it's going to be the enforcement that we're going to be doing.
It's too much for them?
Yeah, I mean, once,
Too much of a hassle?
yeah, why are these smoke shops, lasting? Oh, because you can go into these certain organizations and get the flavored vape, tobacco, nicotine, whatever, instead of having to go up to Jackson Rancheria or Black Oak, where they're, legal. So, and again, in my opinion, anything that is going to cut down on the criminal element, which in my experience, smoke shops bring, I'm all for it in Oakdale.
All right, with that, this is an action item, and I think
Motion
we're on
to
the same
approve.
page.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Patassi?
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
And Mayor Barrios?
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen. All right, 11.1. Good evening.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I'm here to talk today do a presentation about Fire Station number 28 building, the landscaping project. Okay, just gonna do a little quick background in case anybody doesn't know where Fire Station 28 is. It's located on 325 East G Street. It's the one that has a famous iconic fire horn that we see when we here in the city. So Fire Station 28 is staffed by firefighters who are ready to respond and serve the Oakdale community. In addition to emergency response, they are responsible for maintaining the living quarters, keeping equipment in service, ready condition, and caring for the station landscaping grounds. So the discussion is we're going to talk about the landscaping that we want to do around the fire station. The design was designed by Linda Fish Landscaping Architect. The design included installing drought-tolerant landscaping and new water-efficient irrigation system at the Oakdale Fire Station. Remove existing landscaping as needed. Install new plants material. Install irrigation piping, valves, controllers, and related components connecting to the existing water. This irrigation system is designed to improve water efficiency, comply with current water conservation standards for the city. This is the way the Station 28 looks right now. As you can see, there is sod in the front, on the side also. The picture on the left is facing G Street. The picture on the upper right-hand corner is facing 3rd Street, and this is around the perimeter. The proposed landscaping improvements, as you can see, G Street right there in the middle, 3rd Street Avenue, and then you have South Yosemite. As you could tell, all the little marks right there shows the new landscaping that's going to be improved around the building. These are just the planting legend that we have. We're going to have some new plants that are going to be more water tolerant. They won't need that much water. We have some beautiful trees. Some would be the October Glory maple tree, a crepe myrtle, a strawberry tree dwarf, and some other ground cover. Example: these are some of the landscaping that we'll be having when it's fully developed. We're planning to do some of this planting later on in the year, probably around September or October. But as you can see, that's the red maple on the top, the crepe myrtle, the dwarf tree, then we have the plant Little John there, and this is gonna be ground cover. It takes less maintenance to work and also more drought tolerant. The benefits of this project, it benefits the appearance of the fire station. It complements recent building renovations. It replaces aging landscaping with drought-tolerant, water-efficient plants, reduces water consumption throughout an upgraded irrigation system, lowers long-term landscaping maintenance and operations costs. It creates a more welcoming, professional appearance for the public and visitors. It supports the water conservation goals for the city at the same time. It will provide firefighters with an attractive, functional outdoor environment while minimizing maintenance and responsibilities. The Public Services Department did go off and get 3 quotes for this project. When they went out and got three quotes, that you see them right there, we came out with the lowest bidder as being RP Landscaping. RP Landscaping has actually worked currently with the city. They maintain the Bianchi Center and the Senior Center, and they came in as the lowest bidder at $37,165,000. The fiscal impact. The project is funded through the Facility Maintenance Fund, Fund 540, in the amount of $37,165,000, and will have no impact on the general fund. Recommendation. Staff considers a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with RP Landscape for the Oakdale Fire Station Number 28 building landscaping project in an amount of $37,165,000 and a 10% contingency in the amount of $3,716 for a total project budget of $40,881 to be funded from the Facility Maintenance Fund, 540 Capital Project 2326. Do you have any questions?
Any comments from the public? Okay, any questions from the council?
Is this just for them to do the project, or is this for them to do the project and do maintaining afterwards? Is that?
That is just for the project.
So what is the maintenance after that? I know you said
The
it's
maintenance as of right now, it's gonna be less intensive, so the fire department crews are still gonna be doing that as of right now.
Any other questions?
Is there any portion that the city could do to save money at all, or no?
I think if we go back to, as we talked earlier, it's a project. It's better to go out and contract it out because they have people that are experienced doing this. They're able to do it in a more timely fashion than having staff doing it, pulling them away from different areas.
Okay.
So we've already fixed the building, correct? Building's been done. This is just the icing on the cake. Is that correct?
Yes.
9.9 million cars pass by there every year, right?
Is that what it is?
Through that highway,
Well,
yeah.
that horn is it's famous for that horn, right? I've caught every horn today. I actually caught it on the wheel yours at 6 p.m. waking you up.
The
And
horn is a must,
yes,
yes.
and it's people see that fire station.
Yes. Yes. All right, with that, any other questions? If not, this is an action item.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi?
Yes.
And Mayor Barrios?
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, 11.2. Hey, good evening, Karina. How you doing?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Okay, tonight I'm bringing to you a project on North 8th Avenue. This is North 8th Avenue Utility Improvements. This project is located on North 8th Avenue between East C Street and East D Street. The existing underground utility infrastructure was installed in 1947, and in case you can't do that math in your head, that is 79 years old. It has reached the end of its useful service life. In addition to addressing the condition of the underground utilities, the project provides an opportunity to improve the systems that will support the installation and long-term operation of Future Well 12, which is under construction at this time. So here's a map of our location. It's along the 8th Street side of Gilbert Park, from C Street from end to end, all the way, our well there, well 12 stops there in the middle, and we would go all the way to East D Street with our utilities. The project will include the replacement of the water main, storm drain, and sewer, as well as miscellaneous concrete repairs along that roadway, pavement improvement, and new striping at the end. Bids were received on April 23rd. 12 bids were submitted, but the top 7 are listed below. We had a lot of bidders for this project. Our low bidder was United Pavement Maintenance at $398,321.39. The engineer's estimate for construction of this project was $400,000. The low bidder, United Pavement Maintenance, submitted a bid in the amount of $398,321.39. Funding for the water capital replacement portion of the project has already been budgeted. Staff is requesting that the City Council appropriate $69,195 from the Sewer Capital Replacement Fund for 644 and $118,993 from Measure L, Fund 222, in the fiscal year 26-27 budget to fund the remaining portions of this project. Project costs would be allocated as listed below. So the water capital replacement portion is $299,966, and those are the exact costs from our bid. The sewer portion is $69,195, and Measure L, which covers pavement, sidewalks, and items such as that, is $118,993. Total project budget is $488,153.39. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with United Pavement Maintenance for the North 8th Avenue Utility Improvements Project in the amount of $398,321.39. Authorize a $39,832 construction, engineering, and inspection services contingency, and authorize a construction contingency of $50,000 for a total project budget of $488,153.39. The project will be funded through Water Capital Replacement Fund 644, Sewer Capital Replacement Fund 621, and Measure L Fund 222, Capital Project 2406. Staff also recommends that the City Council appropriate $69,195 from Sewer Capital Replacement Fund 644 and $118,993 from Measure L Fund 222 in the fiscal year, that should say 26-27, to fund those respective portions of the project.
Any
questions?
comments from the public first? All right, so this is pretty much a must-have project, correct? Due to the well being there and the age of the underground?
Yes, if you've watched the news this week and saw what happened in North Hollywood, then yes, this is very necessary.
All right, any other questions, comments for Karina?
The well's gonna be covered up and done with, correct, or are we gonna do something with it?
The well is not built. They're
Yeah.
just digging the test well
Okay.
right now. So some of this work will overlap with the well work.
Okay.
To get those big trucks in there. Right now, we have the road pretty tore up, and we won't put it back completely until we've gotten out of that phase of the well work. So we'll be balancing a lot over there for the next few months if
Was
we
this the
move forward.
well, my memory doesn't help me right now, but, is this the first well, test well that we approved, or was this the second one?
This is the second. This is
Second,
well
the
12.
necessary one? is how I
Yes,
got it, yeah.
yes, this is
Okay.
a necessary one with the giant sound wall.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And then, the numbers for what's being taken out of the water and sewer and all that kind of stuff, does that correlate with the itemized bid and
Yes.
budget for,
It's exactly what's in our bid.
okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
So, this is a huge number, and I've already had my conniption over this when we approved our budget, so no comment.
All right, this is
Thank
an
you for
action
saving
item.
me from the connection.
All right, this is an action item.
Motion to approve item 11.2.
Second.
First and a second roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering,
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Yes.
Councilmember Patassi,
Yes.
and Mayor Barrios.
Yep, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen. All right, 11.3. Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, City Council. All right, well, it's indeed a pleasure to be in front of you this evening for this staff report item. So, our current finance director, who many of you know, Mr. Albert Avila, has been with the city of Oakdale since January 12, 2004. That's 22 years of service. And if you're counting budget cycles, that's 66 plus budget cycles. And if you count the contract work that he's done with the city of Oakdale prior to that, it's somewhere around 30 years of service. And apparently, or is it more? 40 years? Apparently, Mr. Avila has finally decided that he's ready to retire. I don't know what he's thinking, but he doesn't want to work anymore. So it's his time, and we wish him all the best. And we would just like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Avila.
Yeah, we'd like to thank him, but he's not leaving yet.
No, not yet, not yet.
Can we vote no on this?
You can vote however you'd like. However, he's still retiring.
So Mr. Avila is going to be officially retiring in December. So as City Manager Ramar mentioned, he's not retiring yet, but it does take a little bit of time. As you guys know, it takes a little bit of time to plan a recruitment process from start to finish and get somebody identified, get them on board. And so this leaves us a little over 4 months to find a qualified applicant to fill this position. And the typical executive recruitment process usually takes about 12 weeks. It is very typical for a municipality to seek out a specialized executive recruitment firm to fill positions such as these. And you're really paying for several important things when you use an executive recruitment firm. One of the main things you're paying for is their unique and their expansive network. These recruitment firms specialize in filling unique roles such as the finance director and in local government as well, because what we do is sort of unique to what a finance director would do in other types of environments. You also pay for their expertise in these types of roles. So typically the recruitment firms have multiple executive recruiters, and most of these executive recruiters that they choose, they actually come from filling these types of positions that we are recruiting for. And in our situation, that is the case with the recruitment firm that we're recommending. They are also specially trained and have technology in place to conduct thorough background and screening checks on the recommended applicants to ensure that nothing is missed. For this recruitment, staff reached out to 4 executive recruitment firms that specialize in local government and have a solid reputation. Out of these 4 firms, we ended up receiving 2 proposals. Staff personally spoke with each of these 2 firms over teleconference, and we provided them information on our finance director position, and we also asked questions about their background, after which they submitted their proposals. So the 2 firms that we received proposals from were Ralph Anderson Associates and WBCP. In order to adequately assess the firms and make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, staff established a scoring system that assessed each firm by experience, overall services provided, their recommended project approach, pricing, and overall fit. Let me see, did I skip one? There we go, I skipped a slide, sorry about that. And overall fit. After comparing the proposals of both firms, it was clear that Ralph Anderson and Associates would be the best fit for the finance director recruitment. Ralph Anderson is one of the longest serving executive recruitment firms. They've been in business for 53 years. In fact, many of the newer executive recruitment firms came from people who were once with Ralph Anderson, and later on they branched out to start their own firm. With experience comes many things, such as network base, tried and true processes, and experienced staff. The CEO of Ralph Anderson, Sabrina Landreth, who would be our point person on this recruitment, has extensive government and finance experience, including serving as general manager of the East Bay Regional Park District, one of the largest special districts in the country, spanning 33 cities and 2 counties, and also city administrator for the city of Oakland, where she oversaw $2 billion in annual budget and more than 5,000 employees, including a large full-service finance department. She knows what she's doing and knows finance and knows what we're looking for, so it's great that she offered to be the lead for this recruitment should we enter into contract with Ralph Anderson. Their project approach is a very solid and manageable 12-week process, starting with them meeting with and interviewing staff for specific things that we're looking for, and developing a position profile and recruitment brochure, to outreach and recruiting, followed by candidate evaluation, initial screenings, a recommended shortlist for city staff to interview, selection, background checks, negotiations, and closeout. The fiscal impact of this recruitment and the overall cost is $26,500. For this type of complete start-to-finish recruitment, especially from a well-established executive recruitment firm, this is very reasonable. What I personally like is that their cost is a straight cost, unlike WBCP, who had a base price and then various additional costs for things like travel, printing of brochures, and then their price was still a little bit higher. With Ralph Anderson, they include all of these things into their base price. I would like to note that funding for this is available, and the line of accounting for this would come from Fund 110, General Government Contract Services. With that being said, it is staff's recommendation that the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing staff to enter into an agreement with Ralph Anderson and Associates for executive recruitment services in support of the finance director position, so that we can begin the process to fill this position and allow enough time for a suitable replacement. And at this time, I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have or provide more information.
Thank you, Patrick. Any comments from the public? All right, with that, bring it back to council. Any questions or comments?
Albert gonna be involved in interviews and stuff like that? He knows what.
We gotta have the master be a part of it, right? Is he gonna be here long enough?
I would leave that to him on how much input he has, and he's whispering in my ear as we speak, yes. He is willing
Good.
to assist.
Okay, good.
Any other questions or comments from council?
Maybe even they work under you for a month or two, you know, maybe. Make sure they're up to par.
So the time frame will allow for somebody to get seated and Albert to remain on the books through December. I anticipate having somebody seated September, October, have Albert work from a hybrid type employment where he can work from home and he can work from the office. That way the person can get in the office, get settled, and still have a great input from our current finance director, Albert Avila.
Thank you. All right, this is an action item. Can't believe this time is coming, Albert. Jeez.
Yes. We're gonna miss you, Albert.
I'll move to approve this item.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Reluctantly, yes.
Councilmember Patassi? And Mayor Barrios?
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen.
I would just like to add something that he didn't have to give us this much notice, so it shows his dedication to the city of Oakdale that he's allowing this much time for us to get his replacement and willing to have input on selecting the right person. So I'd like to thank him for his dedication to the city and to helping us get into a position where we continue solvent.
Thank you. All right, 11.4. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and other city staff. For those that don't know me, Sergeant Ben Savage, Oakdale Police Department, currently assigned to patrol. Tonight, I will be asking for consideration of a resolution accepting grant funding in the amount of $190,300 from the State of California Highway Patrol Cannabis Tax Grant Fund Program for DUI enforcement. Back in January of 2026, I applied for this grant. It was a competitive process, and so move forward. Earlier this month, the State of California Highway Patrol tentatively awarded the Oakdale Police Department's grant application for DUI enforcement for the fiscal year of 2026. Oakdale Police has participated in these type of grants in the past, but they have typically been funded by the Office of Traffic Safety. The benefits of this grant, it provides additional funding from the Cannabis Tax Fund Grant Program to support the Oakdale Police Department's efforts in reducing the number of DUI-related collisions. This funding will provide additional overtime opportunities for officers to work DUI enforcement, advanced training on DUI investigations. It also funds a DUI enforcement patrol vehicle as well as a new DUI checkpoint trailer. Some of the key features from this grant is we have for DUI saturation patrols, those are patrols where officers drive around and just work enforcement. There's 24 8-hour operations. We have 4 DUI checkpoint operations throughout the fiscal year. A-RIDE training, which is advanced roadside impairment driving enforcement, it funds 3 officers to go to that training. SFST, which is standardized field sobriety test, it affords 3 officers to attend that training. 1 officer to attend drug recognition expert. Currently, the police department does not have any up-to-date certified DRE officers. Allows 2 officers to attend the CNOA conference, which is the California Narcotics Officer Association. There they learn new crime trends, alcohol and drug-related, that assists patrol in enforcing some of these things. We have been allotted $90,000 for a DUI patrol vehicle, which will also be used for the officers to attend training. And additionally, the DUI trailer for $40,000 with a grand total of $190,300. Traffic safety trends as of June 30th, 2026. It's trending in the wrong direction for the collision side of it. Total traffic collisions are up 39%. Injuries from collisions are up 71%, and DUI-related collisions between 7 and 8. So we're trending in the wrong way. Hopefully, additional funding, additional overtime opportunities for officers will help reduce those numbers, as well as injuries from collisions from DUI-related incidents. Fiscal impact, there's no current fiscal impact to the city unless the outfitting or upfitting of the vehicle itself could go over the $90,000. Now isn't the best time to pick out vehicles. It's going to be availability, and so we may get, that cost may fluctuate, but we'll address that if we get to that point. So the recommendation, staff recommends that the city council adopt a resolution accepting the $190,300 in grant funding from the State of California Department of Highway Patrol for DUI operations, officer training, a DUI enforcement vehicle, and a DUI trailer. Any questions?
Thank you. Any comments from the public? Any questions from council?
I have a couple. What I saw is ELISAS has less follow-up requirements than your OTS grants.
Yes.
And that's a grateful thing. And I was told that a yes vote doesn't mean I get to go to CNOA.
That is correct.
I think the way I worded it is a patrol sergeant.
Okay, all right.
And somebody.
Amazing. Some of the best conferences I went through in my career. So lots of knowledge, lots of information in that. And you brought up the statistics about of the accidents, and that was a comment I made earlier today when I was talking to the city manager. Was I've noticed the accidents are up and the traffic citations are down. Generally, there's a correlation there. You give more traffic citations, accidents tend to go down. I understand officers in training. I understand new officers are coming on board. But I think this grant is going to influence the trends in the opposite direction, that hopefully, if you follow any social media in Oakdale, we clearly need to enforce traffic more.
I agree.
And because everybody blows through everything. But I think on a truthful note that if you can enforce stuff and more traffic citations are given, that historically will make accidents go down and keep people safe. So thank you for putting the time to write this grant.
Absolutely.
On the traffic citation note, we have a very bad problem, I think you already know. At the clock tower, there are cars that, when they are trying to turn right onto Highway 120, at the clock tower, they are cutting off semi-trucks. And just last week, I saw a truck. Somehow they fit between the semi-truck and your old bank building. And the regular truck was stuck there. The semi-truck was stuck there. And I was stuck behind the semi-truck honking my horn like, what the hell? Why is this truck cutting off the semi? So I would really appreciate if an officer could sit there and write tickets to all the people that are running the stoplight and cutting off the semis. Because I have seen it once a week, and I sound like the people on the Facebook groups, and I'm sorry, but here I am.
And there
What's
you
your
have it.
anonymous name?
And there you have it. All right, thank you.
I have a question. Are there any strings attached when we get a grant? I mean, do we owe anybody anything, or this is just?
It's, all we have to do is, cover the operations, which is the 24 and the 4, and try to get as many officers to the training as possible. I've managed these grants in the past here or at my former agency, and we were unable to send certain officers to certain trainings, and they're like, well, do your best if you can't, we understand. It just rolls over into the next, their next grant cycle. So there's no penalties if we can't make good with any of our operations. But we're gonna do our best to fill every operation, fill every training assignment.
And through this, we get an additional vehicle.
Yes.
And that's like forever, right? I mean,
Yeah. So the way I wrote it in the grant is, the DUI vehicle is supposed to remain available for officers who are going to work these operations, whether it's checkpoints or attend the trainings or the saturation patrols. Outside of that, the vehicle will be available for patrol use based off of lieutenant's discretion or our fleet manager's discretion. The only caveat to the vehicle, it has to have DUI enforcement vehicle somewhere branded on it. So, you know, a decal, whatever. No, we'll put a decal on it that says DUI enforcement vehicle. So when it's out, we'll get some photo ops for the state. And but yeah, that's kind of it. We get an additional patrol vehicle to kind of offset everything else.
Is that taken out of the 190,000, or is that separate?
That's all part of the 190. It's
Okay.
I think I went off of our most recent Explorer bid, which is 50,000 for the car roughly, and 30,000 for the upfitting, and I inflated it a little bit just for cost and just the world we're in right now. So they gave us $90,000 for a vehicle and upfitting and decals and radio equipment and computer
Nice.
equipment. So if prices keep escalating, we could go over that 90,000, and that's where we may have to come back and have a chat about it, but we're gonna outfit it the best we can with the money we have.
How soon can you get the vehicle? Like,
As
when
soon as I
if
get
this
a
gets
resolution,
approved?
I send it to the state. We are currently in this grant. But the only thing we're waiting on is for this resolution. I send it to the state. They do the final approvals. We're gonna start searching for the vehicle. I don't know what that process exactly looks like. Chief might be able to answer that, but as soon as possible. I told him after the first in the first quarter, we'll have the vehicle, hopefully.
It
I don't
takes
know
a
how
couple
practical that is.
months to get the cars in.
Motion to approve.
So
Can I
let
add
me
on
just add something
before you?
too.
Go ahead.
So when it comes time to purchase the vehicle, we're not just gonna do it. We're gonna bring that back to city council with all the bids, so that you know exactly what it costs.
But you won't need the vehicle to begin the operations, correct?
No.
Okay.
As soon as we get the green light, after all the paperwork submitted to the state, we can start working these operations. It's just kind of in conjunction with, here you go, here's another type thing.
Another electric vehicle?
I wrote it as a gas powered only because if we go to other cities to work operations, like the CNOA, not the CNOA, but the DRE class is generally not local. Again, the way I wrote it is to be used for travel to the training as well. I don't know if we need to worry about charge stations.
That's what I was kind of getting at was.
Yeah, I wrote it as a gas only, or, I mean, we could go look at the hybrid, we just got the hybrid, so we could look at that, but I must kind of shine away from any electric only because used for the training and.
Good deal.
I would like to look at a truck. It's just gonna be dependent on price. Just throwing that out there. First, I want to say thank you, Sergeant Savage, for taking the initiative in researching this grant, writing the grant, and obviously getting the tentative approval from the state. This wasn't asked of him. He did this all on his own. So I give him kudos, and I want to let that out be known for that.
Thank you.
Secondly, I do want to say it's relevant to this, but Officer Varney was just selected as a MAD award for our department. He had 25 DUIs last year, and he's getting an award.
DUI arrests.
DUI arrest, sorry. Yes. Thank you. But he's getting an award next month for his hard work in the field of DUI work, so.
Thank you.
But that was, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, with that, this is an action item.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Patassi?
Good job, Officer Savage, Sergeant Savage. Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilbert?
Yes.
Councilmember Murdoch?
Yes.
Councilmember Kettering?
Yes.
And Mayor Barrios?
Yes, this item passes 5-0. Thank you, Colleen. All right, anything else on city manager's report, 12.1?
Nothing to add.
All right, any council member have an item?
Yes,
Ms.
I
Gilbert.
believe at our last city council meeting, it was quite a while ago, but we said that we were going to add to our agenda that we would possibly vote to extend public comment up to an hour instead of the 30 minutes, and I would like to bring that back.
Yes, that's going to be on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you.
To vote on, or just, it's gonna be how, like, it's approved?
It's going to be on the agenda brought before city council, so you can select the amount of time that you want for public comment.
Got it, thank you.
All right, with that, you guys will see everybody else but myself on August 3rd at 6:30 PM. Have a great few weeks. Meeting adjourned.